welcome to our penultimate talk this evening. Marc Koehler won a special award from me when we were in Berlin because he did this delightful kind of open building apartment proposition in Amsterdam, where he spends some of his time, but much of his time in Lisbon these days. And when we moved to Amsterdam, we did a whole session on open building and this idea of introducing maximum flexibility, letting people finish off their own apartments. It was an economic as well as an architectural proposition, which has gained, I think, great traction. And it was based partly, at least, on the idea of self-generating and self-sustaining communities. And we've asked Marc to talk this evening about the subjects of communities in various aspects from his point of view as architect, part developer and part proselytizer for new and more constructive ways of living. Marc Koehler.
Thanks a lot. So let's start with a small introduction about Marc Koehler Architects, MKA in Amsterdam. So Amsterdam is my home base, but I recently opened shop 2 years ago in Lisbon with a more smaller boutique agency in which we try to combine architecture with real estate development, branding and community building. And this happened in the middle of the COVID crisis when there was the lockdown and everyone remembered that we all wanted to escape to nature outside of the city, to go into a safe place. And in my case, that was Lisbon, because I studied here 20 years ago. I did part of my master's here for 2 years. My father is of Portuguese origin, so it felt like a safe place to go. And I wanted to go for a couple of months, but I never came back to Amsterdam. Well, I'm there all the time, but permanently living here. So I would like to show you something of the things we are doing here and end with some of the things we're doing in Amsterdam. It's characteristic for our company that we do things in a collaborative way, and that we form alliances with partners on the long-term basis and create brands. We always try to create prototypes, buildings that are an example for ourselves, for our clients, and for other architects of how to do things differently. And at the same time, can survive beyond the individual project. So we create a company or a brand that can develop these ideas further. 3 projects that we have been nominated by here at WAF this year are the flexible building, this office building that can transform into an apartment building in the future, Superlofts Groningen, and the Robin Wood project you've seen coming by, which we did with ANA Architects, and of course Jacoba Mulderhuis with Powerhouse in Architectency in Amsterdam. But what really motivates me is the challenge that really characterizes our generation. How can we prevent us to become makeup artists? Because design is more and more just a tool to create value for a hyper-capitalistic real estate model. And architects are becoming more and more marginalized to be experts in doing that. Exactly that special moment just before the project is being sold to an investor or pension funds, to add that look and feel that makes it suddenly very attractive. I think that's the vulnerability of our discipline and of architecture. It's that architecture has become an expertise in a complex field of and domain of expertises. And only a small bit of the process is actually characterized by architecture. But it is the most important part. It's the part that's just before all the money is being made. And often, if you're not lucky in a hit-and-run real estate development procedure, you also don't see the client again. I mean, to be honest, there's only a few of my clients that actually keep coming back to our office, even if we have a fantastic relationship, everything was fantastic. They just are curious for a new architect, so they go shop around. So it doesn't really work to invest in long-term relationships with clients, because they are just curious and want fresh blood. So you invest everything you have, all your ideas that you build up, you get very little money for it, and then you're out. You don't even get a commission to engineer the project anymore. In the Netherlands, the architecture has become just only a very little part of the sketch design, preliminary design phase, and after that, engineering companies take over. Did we really do all that work, all that studying to be marginalized like that? And what about algorithms that are going to take over also most of our other activities? So I'm really thinking, how can we change this? And what we try to do is to integrate all kind of other disciplines. We call it vertical integration. So we are studying branding and marketing of real estate concepts, and we really like to advise on concept development. We also love manufacturing and construction, so we engage in the making of the buildings and form alliances with construction companies. And now we also alliance with real estate developers and investors to create long-term collaborations and really learning how this business works. So we want to go from this model of a hit-and-run development to a vertical integration, long-term collaboration model in which architecture is stretched in its influence, in its impact, and all the different parties that collaborate maybe don't make a lot of money all at one point, but together invest in a long-term relationship that provides sustainability for a much longer period, and also allows you to build a practice. We do this with 20 people in Amsterdam, 5 people in Lisbon, and 3 people in our real estate and branding department. And an important part of what I've been doing in the last 2 years actually comes from Lisbon, so I wanted to talk to you about it. In the COVID period, looking for this place to hide in nature, I discovered this ruin that was for sale in Sesimbra, and we tried to buy it, but it was almost impossible. There were 6 farmer families that owned the plot of land, and they had a fight with each other. Nobody agreed on the price. Then they wanted to sell it to us, but then they didn't. Then we were at the notary to buy it. Then one walked away 5 minutes before the signing. It was a disaster. But at the end, with my friend Kees, who's a cultural entrepreneur that owns the Verida Hotel here in Lisbon, we dared to buy it without any securities. So not with the notary registration, which protects us. We really had to really take a huge risk and do a down payment of 70,000 euros on this piece of land. But it turned out to be an amazing investment because we managed to do the deed, and we bought an amazing plot of land. It is an old abandoned farm at the coast with a view of the ocean. And yeah, you just fall in love with the location. We would love to restore the old farm and to discover how it is to become a farmer, only in the weekends, of course, because we also have a job in the city. But somehow the attraction to learn how to live in nature and grow your own food was something that didn't get out of our heads anymore. So then we started to think maybe we could grow the food here for the hotel case. And we brought his chef, and we started to research what's growing here and what traditional Portuguese recipes were made of the traditional azoia apple tree, which is an almost extinct apple tree. And they make amazing apple cakes with it. We have a lot of them, and we want to restore that. We want to restore the olive trees, the vineyards that are there. And this is really what's driving me, actually, the last years, is doing this kind of very small projects, but then they become somehow bigger and bigger because we discovered that it's super interesting to study permaculture and soil fertilization, and that you can actually create all kind of products from this land. So we are now building a brand around this farm, experimenting with local products that we can maybe sell in the hotel case or elsewhere, organize workshops about cooking and growing food, bringing traditions back to life. And then I designed this house with local materials, almost 100% circular. It's restoring the ruin. For me, quite a new development in my identity as an architect, to really have to study traditional architecture and work with that, inspired by Casa de Chá from Cisa in Oporto, in Lessa, and taking all kind of details from Portuguese modern architecture and traditional architecture in this ruin. And I'm not doing that alone. We've built a studio with 5 amazing people, Portuguese, half Portuguese, Italian, Hungarian. And this turned also, again, in another story. So Kees, my business partner in the little house, has this hotel. And part of the building next to it was empty because he's going to extend the hotel into that building. So he offered it to us as our new office atelier. And it's an amazing place with a view over the river. So we decided to start to organize events about permaculture, about regenerative farming, about beekeeping, about healthy living, about stress and cities and how to prevent it, even about breathworks, meditation, personal development. And Why this happens in Lisbon, I don't know. I think Lisbon attracts an amazing group of expats and impact entrepreneurs from Russia, from America, France, England, South America, from the Netherlands, and they're all looking to change their lives and to do something better. And all these people, they are just so much in search of a place to meet. So we created this place, and we started to do workshops and create a community of, at the beginning, 50 people. We invited 25 people and asked each of them to invite one very, very important person with a good heart and a strong purpose. And that resulted into these pitching evenings where people said, what's their purpose and what are they looking for? And then we would network and exchange ideas. Some people needed money, some people needed contacts, some people just needed mental support. And we created these values for the Lisbon Club: the power of art, heart over wallet, people over things, and vastness and nature on your doorstep. For us, that's what characterizes Lisbon, and that's what we want to protect and develop. So we start to collaborate in different coalitions on regenerative projects, on community-based projects that tap into the circular economy, regenerative farming, bio-based building, crowdfunding based on blockchain and crypto, all these things that are happening in Lisbon. And it's super exciting. So then we organize an event about healthy living with this Breathworks workshop by Inito. We created a website, and we started our first test project at the other side of the river. Porto Brandão is an amazing abandoned village, half abandoned. A lot of investors bought properties waiting for some bigger hotel projects to start. But we managed to, with some friends, buy some little properties and start to invest to build a community over there. So the idea is that we use our network to regenerate this village. It is an amazingly miracle place. I mean, you could never find this in Holland. Imagine at the other side of the river of Amsterdam, you would find a place like this. It's unthinkable. And this is Portugal. It's just full of opportunities. It's amazing. So we start to organize this workshop with ProUp, for instance, and real estate developers about gentrification. The title was Gentrified or Rejuvenated. How can you regenerate a village in a sustainable way without the foreigners pushing out the Portuguese? How can you create a sustainable and inclusive real estate development? So we started to do walks, and we started to do talks, and I bought this little plot of land with an amazing view. And this is the character of the village. It's close to the beach. I love kite surfing, which is like 10 minutes away from this place. And by 10 minutes with the ferry, you are in Lisbon. So it's just like a miraculous place. This is my little house and the view. And I built this pool house. And from there, we started to organize the meetings, meetups, brainstorms, co-working sessions, office Friday afternoon meetings, co-working with expats and digital nomads on Fridays, events up to deep in the night, bringing this village to life with digital nomads and expats and local Portuguese meeting. This is a group of developers and investors from the Netherlands. And this is the beach of Porto Brandão and the ruin on the left side. So this is the project that came out of this, and we call it Urban Eco Village Porto Brandão. Here you see again where Porto Brandão is located. The context, very green, in the middle of Lisbon. This is the village. This is some of the properties that we have acquired and the master plan that we have made with the village houses, townhouses, and a farm hotel. So the first phase is about 16 townhouses with shared facilities, kind of like a co-living project, but it's owned by 16 owners. So we're going to sell these houses to 16 owners who then can rent out part of their house to digital nomads, but also live there themselves. The old house will become a shared space with co-working facilities, small kitchen, bar, a small shop for the neighborhood. And of course, the little dipping pool with a view over the river. And it's just a very cute, small development. And it's made in the same way as our Dutch prefab wooden timber project. So it's made out of prefab modular modules from CLT. This is an idea of the atmosphere of the modules. And this is a view of the other side. This is how you deal with a mountain for a Dutch person. Quite an adventure. It took a little bit of time to get grip on this. But I think now we are starting to get a feeling for it. The micro network of connecting spaces and the building typology. A 4-meter wide module that is about 8.5 meters long, that can be stacked and prefabricated in a factory and then finished on site. The second project is not about regenerating a farm or a village, but a forest. And it's called Nomalides. And I bought this plot of land in the forest in Melides also 1.5 years ago, in the middle of the crisis when nobody was looking, and now suddenly everyone wants to live there. So I think we were very lucky to find this and to get a PIP for this project. PIP is a kind of preliminary building permit. This is the view on the beach. Can we start the video? Let me see. No. How do I start it? Thank you.
We were nomads. We gathered in tribes. We started to speak and listen. We left the grottos, built shelters. Fire and earth became our tools. Then we became artists and scientists. We invented currency. We made machines to build cities, produce stuff and travel. We communicated, calculated, and crashed. Technology opened new doors. Then we started to ask questions. We were no longer clerks. We became bold self-starters. We brought ourselves up again to the next step on Maslow's stairs. We were nomads again. Now we're here. We breathe the breeze spiced by the pines. Here's our home to return to over and over again. Here, our minds open to listen, speak, and listen more. Here's food for the body, for the soul, and for thoughts to share. Here we unite where nature, art, and community blend.
And this plot of land is degenerated land. It needs maintenance. There's a lot of fire hazards, and in Portugal, that means that you have to clean the land and kill everything under the trees, which also destroys the whole ecosystem. So we are working with ecologists in doing this in a different way, developing a vision on making it fireproof without killing all the microecology under the trees. And we bought then the second plot in order to extend the project and dived into forestry and forest keeping. And the interesting thing is that when you do a mapping like this in Portugal, you have to understand that all of these trees are important. You cannot just kill them, especially not the sobreiros. You cannot touch them at all. That's the cork oaks. So you need to place the houses in a very, very careful way, which is a huge challenge, and for us also something completely new. But working with landscape architects and ecologists, we managed to add a lot of trees, protect other ones, heal sick trees, and add much more quality to this terrain than it has now. Then we are making these shared facilities, which will have a co-working area and a co-living area where you can have a bite. And it will have a farmer's market on weekends with a pop-up restaurant that we involve local farmers to engage with. The swimming pool will be on top of this water tank, which in itself has a art gallery and an art space underneath. The homes are designed in a way that you can live in part of it as an apartment and rent out one of the rooms, the one on the right, so you can actually earn back part of your investment. Inside and outside are completely connected and only use of circular, bio-based and local materials. Outdoor living means in Portugal that you can add a lot of extra space to your house. Summarizing this, we actually come to this conclusion. MKA is now exploring the field beyond architecture into community building and branding on the one hand, and modular manufacturing and property management on the other end. And when we look at the process, we always see the same pattern. We start with an ideation phase, then we build a community, then we initiate a test project that results into a prototype, then we build a platform to expand, we learn from spin-offs, and then scale up. And this is the best example of that. Mama Pioneers is a network of sustainable residential communities in the Netherlands that we have created together with 3 real estate pioneers, Edwin Oosmeijer, Rens Millenaar, and Andy. And together won 3 tenders, of which the first is designed by MKA, the second by MKA and ANA Architects, and the third by VMX Architects. But it's coming from the same real estate development company that I then co-own with my partners and a family office. So we have international ambitions and are looking into different cities. And our vision and mission is to develop, design, own and operate a network of sustainable, affordable buildings. By vertical chain integration, we can create higher quality at lower costs. Mama also wants to be a neighborhood catalyst that unites an off and online community by shared facilities and services. And we want to create true social cohesion. So inspired by the 60s and 70s and the Dutch heritage of this period, there's 2 values, harmony and curiosity, that characterize our brand. It's rooted in Amsterdam in the 70s, and all the trends that we see today, from healthy transport, communal life, healthy food, spirituality and activism, actually have their roots in the 70s. It's very interesting that maybe neoliberalism, capitalism in the 80s and 90s has killed the initial development of this sustainable movement, but now we don't have any other choice. So now everyone is embracing it. So the community we built is very diverse, from pioneers and singles to essential professionals, expats, students, self-employed entrepreneurs, and families. Our digital community connects the different people in the different buildings, within the building, but also between the buildings. Can we please start the movie?
So let's establish a new idea of home, not by providing fixed solutions, but by providing the means to create new answers. Inspire the pioneering spirit, individually and collectively, that has moved us through bygone eras, using the best of the past, learning from the worst of the past, and combining it with the best of today. A fluid idea of peace of mind, spirit, family, and place, to meet the needs of today and tomorrow. Come home. Come to Mama. Mama Pioneers. So let's establish it.
Well, and we're building this community through meetups. So we have selected different ambassadors from different cultural sectors, lifestyles in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. And we ask them to represent our concept and brand. And each of them select 10 people they think should live in Mama. This is a present to those people because Mama offers very affordable homes with a very high quality and sustainability. And there is a huge waiting list for this everywhere in the world. If you can live under €1,000 per month in a 70 square meter apartment at the fringe of the center of Amsterdam, you are very lucky. And that's why we think we shouldn't just give this to anyone. We should really socially engineer this project and ask different representations, nurses, teachers, policemen, all these people that can't afford to live in the city anymore, but also artists, entrepreneurs. And we want to hear from our community who they think should live there. So we're going to do this together through these meetups and select the first community. This building of Poppies is already under construction since 3 weeks ago, and it's fully modular. So here you see the modules are 4 by 12.5 meters long, and they come on a truck, and they're produced in Germany by Derricks, and everything is included, up to the microwave. So we just have to stack them and finish the facade and the roofs. Of course, the plinth is made out of prefab circular concrete, and the modules are stacked on top of it. The plinth will have all kind of facilities. The modules offer all kind of variations to customize the apartments, even in a small compact space. And this is the base layout. It's a lot of thinking and puzzling about how to design this layout in terms of shafts and bathrooms and storage and installations. And this is an image from the factory. And this is how they are stacked. Variations, stacking, factory, transport. Why is this sustainable? Because you can control the product 100%. There is no waste. There is much less transport to the construction site if you only come there once with a truck instead of 3,000 times, because construction worker forgot screwdriver, has to go back to the shop, get the screwdriver with a little bus. Everyone comes with little buses, 400 little buses per week. No, not necessary. In this way, you only come one time for 2 weeks. All the modules are being placed. So it's a whole new way of product making, because the traditional Dutch construction company needed to embrace the collaboration with this factory in northern Germany, and most of their profit will go to basically to the factory in Germany. The whole model of contracting, which is based on getting little margins from everyone, all the subcontractors, is gone. So the new income model for the main contractor is just to coordinate it, just to coordinate the implementation of the prefab modular elements. So also here, all these shared spaces, the roof, which will have urban farming up even with real chicken, galleries, the lobby, lounge, shared kitchen. Of course, everyone has their own kitchen, but there's also a shared kitchen where you can meet your neighbors. The co-work area. We have a community manager that's also the barman and the concierge in the cafe. We have art spaces, and we have maker spaces to repair things. If you need help, we can offer that. Or you just do yoga on the roof. In the gym, we have a laundrette and shared vehicles to rent, and also shared electric bikes. The brand identity that we created is based on the keyhole. For me, the most important symbol of home, the most personal symbol of home. And it also maybe looks a little bit like a little person. So the logo has many different associations. The color scheme is then reflected in the choice of materials, interior, styling, landscaping. And this is the kind of open mood, informal atmosphere we want to create, and where also the future residents will have influence upon. Signage, first construction site. So this is Robin Wood. Robin Wood is our biggest wooden project, also bio-based and modular, future-proof, and built with the same system as I showed you before. But here the modules are L-shaped, so the apartments exist out of 2 modules, so we can offer bigger homes. And this is quite revolutionary. Market rental homes on top and the affordable ones below, they're a bit shorter. But the market rental ones offer all kind of variations. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, even 3 bedrooms in the same square meters. The future residents can decide, and walls can be taken in and out in a plug-in system easily by the inhabitants. This is a view over the water. This is a render. We also offer atelier homes. and then I'm going to end. These are affordable homes for students, talents that will be selected from the art academies, music, painting, that don't have place in Amsterdam at the moment. They will share one apartment with 2 small studios, but with a shared living space atelier in front. It's up to now, I would say, the highest prefab modular CLT building being built in Amsterdam, and we are very proud of it. We are also adding PV panels, geothermal, heat pump, solar power, and all kind of grey water facilities to make this the most sustainable, climate positive building of Amsterdam. And I think I can keep on talking a lot, but I get a signal that it's my last minute. So last but not least, all these buildings, they need to be contextualized. So that happens in the plinth. It's about creating these micro connections to the neighborhood. That's always specific in every location. The tiny forest in the middle of the project will have like a cooling effect. The temperature will be 4 to 5 degrees lower than outside of the block by planting in a very high density a variety of trees. And this allows you to open the windows and ventilate naturally your homes, where in more urbanized and pavement kind of courtyards you would burn away. So also this, I think, is an important step in Robin Wood. Thank you very much.